Greetings and salutations, and welcome to another episode of the Pod Ones podcast. I'm your host, StarWarsLawyer. To my left, I have my host. Wait, that way.
We're off to a great start. It's Luke. Hi, guys. As you can probably tell, Char's not here. Of course. Again.
Somehow Charlie Johnson has disappeared.
For another episode of the Pod Ones podcast.
I am your host, Luke, with my other host, Hereth.
Welcome back, everyone.
What's up, Harry Styles?
And today we are going to be going over kind of the lost arcs of the Clone Wars. Today we're going to be talking about Son of Dathomir. I'm going to let Hereth take the reins on this, and I'm just going to sit back and put my 2 cents when it's needed. So, Hereth, take it away.
I know for a longest time, like literally no joke, since season 1, I've been pushing Luke.
Real quick, Kris, where can good people follow you?
You can find me at StarWarsLawyer on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. And you can find my podcast, Too Black, Too Nerdy, wherever pods are cast, as Camilla, a.k.a. Boricua Wookie, would say.
I've been on that podcast. It's a fantastic podcast. Go subscribe to it. Yes.
Yeah.
Go support Beings of the Galaxy.
Yeah, go support Beings of the Galaxy as well. They are currently starting season 2.
Woo woo!
Exciting. But Kris, what's your knowledge with the comic?
I mean, besides when I read it in like 15 minutes earlier today.
Absolutely nothing.
No. I mean, like, I've read it before. I didn't know that it was canon at the time. I thought it was just like, yeah, this is something we didn't get to do. So here you go. So I mean, it puts most of Maul's actions in season 5 into a different context. So I think, and then setting up for season 7 that we eventually get. So I think it's great, and I think it's a must read.
Absolutely, I would think so too, Hereth.
Yeah, I would say it's absolutely so important because this is really tied into like with our intro discussion question of with the Clone Wars arcs being released into external media. Do you value Son of Dathomir on the same levels as the finished arcs we eventually got throughout the entire show? Luke, starting with you.
To be honest, no. But that's because I don't really like Maul as a character. So it's like, cool. It's extra stuff. Do I value it more than season 7 or at the same as season 7? No, not at all.
You'd like it more if Anakin were there.
I mean, with Obi-Wan being there, it's a little better. But like, Maul's not cool. Like that's it. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
Kris, same question to you.
I mean, I think it is for Maul's story. Like I was saying earlier, showcases what he did in season 5 and what he's doing in Siege of Mandalore in different light, and also it kind of explains how he would go from where he was in Solo to where he was in Rebels. Without his mama telling him what to do, or really anyone telling him what to do, Maul's plans fail spectacularly.
Yeah. I guess as it's weird because it's like as a host, I guess I'll take my own question as well. I absolutely value this arc on the same level as the other arcs. Because I feel like Kris said, it adds so many layers to Maul's story. Because I feel like without this arc, a lot of the like more backstory nuances to Maul are lost. You can absolutely go from season 5 or the end of Maul to season 7, but you do lose a lot of the character nuances and how he got from point A to B, because I know a lot of the fans that don't consume the external media were like, how the hell did he get from here to here?
Yeah. Like, wait, last time I saw him, he was getting a shock to the heart, and now he's back on Mandalore. Sidious didn't just leave him there.
No, because I mean, it gives us a little bit more to what it's. I'm not saying it's not as important. Let me make that clear. I just don't hold it up to what we got in season 7 or what they ended up finishing in season 6. And I cannot stress that enough. Just because I don't want people getting in the comments being like, no.
Hashtag cancel Padawans podcast. Let's get it trending on Twitter.
No. Okay, but I am going to say this right now though. I do want to like put this in the ground, even though I asked this question. The arcs they finished in season 7 are 100% were the correct choices. For what they were going with in that season, it made sense you needed to do a Rex arc, an Ahsoka arc, and then Siege of Mandalore. I get it's important to know what happened to Maul, but if they only had 12 episodes, I would still keep the same 3 arcs. I would not have picked a different one.
They should have given him a full season.
They should have given him a full season, but with what they were given, it was the correct choice.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, people will definitely disagree with you given the Ahsoka arc with the Martez sisters.
Oh, we'll get into that.
We'll get into
that, and
we'll get into that when we get to it, because I'll definitely be one of the people defending the hell out of that arc.
But Hereth, since Charlie's not here, your time to shine, buddy.
I always dish out the criticism, so this is my time to shine, even though I'm probably going to do worse than Char, and it's going to be hilarious. And you know what? I'm here for the bit.
I'll take your places as the ranking of it.
Sounds good.
So let's hear it.
Oh man, the pressure is on now.
I am not doing Godfrey because actually, you know what? I'll try it for one, but I'm gonna throw it in randomly.
Okay, sounds good.
Into the abyss, Darth Maul has conducted a vast criminal syndicate known as the Shadow Collective, gathering the galaxy's most feared criminals. The Black Sun, the Pikes, even the mighty Hutts have fallen, all in line behind the Dark Warrior, building a base of operations on the criminal planet of Mandalore. Maul plotted revenge against many enemies, but Maul's lust for power and conquest has drawn a great enemy upon him as his former master Darth Sidious. Judging Maul as a threat of his own design, Sidious's former apprentice ruthlessly murdering Maul's brother Savage Opress, leaving Maul beaten, curiously still alive.
Okay, he recovered it towards the end.
So you started with the 3, and then you dipped, and then you came back. So you ended it around the 2.5.
You know what? I'll take a 2.5. You know what? This isn't my usual standard. See, Char is used to it. He has this like ebb and flow, and he's been doing it.
He's been doing it for 30 some odd episodes.
This is my first time doing it, so it's like I have to kind of get into the ebb and flow of it all.
Yeah,
now the question will be: will you be a bit more gracious in your rankings towards Char now that you've been under the microscope?
Probably not, just for the bit.
Yeah.
I got to keep the consistency, but. I would usually do the morals, but there isn't morals with these. Weirdly enough, I don't know why that was not included in the comic run.
I mean, do Maul or Sidious have morals? Let's be honest.
No, neither of them do.
No. This comic begins like with this like awesome fade-in shot of like the prison's like secrecy, and we come in and like Sidious is like torturing Maul, and it's like very, very grim and dark, like very like it literally like it doesn't skip a beat for where it left off in season 5. Like it ends with Palpatine shocking and torturing him. We pick up with Palpatine shocking and torturing him, and right out of the gate we get this very interesting line from Maul. Maul says to Sidious, "There is a purpose to everything in the galaxy and a way to destroy this." How does that really represent Maul's character throughout all of canon?
I mean, Maul's always trying to sabotage things. Like that's his role. He's a saboteur, and so he's trying to. I believe this is Sidious's response is you still remember your teachings.
Yeah.
So this is obviously a lesson that Palpatine impressed upon him, because that was what Palpatine is trying to do with the Jedi, and so now Maul's trying to do that with him, and he's just like, no. Remember who taught you. Don't cite the deep magic to me, which I was there when it was
written. No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, looking throughout canon, he tries to gain power, and the only way that he knows how to do that is through chaos, is through throwing his hat into the ring and causing chaos. For example, when he comes back and confronts Kenobi, he does it in a way of sending a holo transmission of him ganking like 18 people at once, and forcing people's hands into combating with him. So I think that's one of the things that Maul does, and how he is like his quote. Everything there's a purpose to the galaxy and a way to destroy it. And it's just like basically him being like, if I wanted to, I could really, really, really make your life a living hell. And he almost does.
Yeah, and I feel like that really extends to where Maul is in Siege of Mandalore. Like, I think this gives a new context to that, like, whole what he's doing throughout Siege of Mandalore. Of like, you know what? I know what your plan is. I know you want to seduce Anakin Skywalker to the dark side. Fuck you. I am taking your apprentice and I'm gonna kill him. Or like when everything gets thrown off, when Ahsoka shows up, it's like, fine, I'm gonna take his Padawan and turn her against him and basically have her kill him. So fuck you, I win. It's like this like little sadistic little game Maul's playing with Sidious.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Well, he's petty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about Sidious's apprentices, they're all petty. Maul is petty, Dooku is petty, and Vader's definitely petty.
Oh yeah. Well, that's
sure.
because he's petty for other reasons.
I mean, he was born petty, but you know, like, you know, Vader taking out all of Dooku's family.
I'm trying to think. Was Dooku that petty? Because I don't really remember Dooku being a petty.
He is from time to time, but not like as petty as Maul or Vader, I would say.
Because Maul and Vader are on like insulin toxicity level of like fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, Dooku is petty with his taunts because I mean, think about it. Like, Master Kenobi, you disappoint me. Yoda holds you in such high esteem. Like you left the Jedi Order what, like 20 years before this? Like, how is Yoda going to hold him in such high esteem at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like him. It's not like Dooku and Yoda were on like chat. Like, hey, so this Kenobi kid, he's gonna be a good one.
Well, I'm thinking back to it because I mean I'm playing all of Dooku's moments throughout canon. I'm really thinking of Dark Disciple right now. Of like, Dooku's really petty in Dark Disciple. I was like, I'm really playing that back of like the way he treats Quinlan against Ventress.
Yeah, the way he treats Quinlan specifically, and how he makes it seem where he shows Quinlan. Well, he gives Quinlan his master's lightsaber, and he just is like, "Dare you to touch it." And he grabs it, and you can see what happens, and that's what breaks him from Ventress. So that could be a little petty for sure.
Agreed, because like I was really like for a second I had to really think about what Kris was saying, and I was like playing it back, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. But moving along through the scene, Dooku walks in, Sidious is still shocking him, and Palpatine like remarks back, like, I taught you that. Why are you taking my teachings from me? Like, you're still like a good apprentice. And like he walks out with Dooku. Dooku and Palpatine are talking, and Palpatine's like, oh, we still need to like keep Maul alive. And Dooku's like, why? And Palpatine's explaining this whole deal about Mother Talzin, and Palpatine begins to comment about how Mother Talzin is a threat, stating her spite for me runs deep. Why do you think that is? And why do you think Palpatine is starting to view her as a threat to his grand plan against the Republic?
Because she's a powerful woman. Duh. We all know this.
A powerful, scorned woman at that. Like he yanked her child from her.
Yeah.
And then they wiped out the Night Sisters clan, and she's still around and kicking.
Yeah.
Like
that's not a look you want.
Like Maul's not the threat here. Talzin is, because he can let Maul be broken off somewhere, but Talzin is smart, and there's a reason why Palpatine was considering bringing her on as his partner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get to see some of her power when she uses the voodoo doll to almost kill Dooku.
Mm-hmm. Game recognized game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he is so afraid. I've said this multiple times. He's a misogynist.
I mean, he's a pretty much most is that you can think of.
No, yeah, absolutely. Him fearing a strong woman just makes another point to why he's afraid of Padme as well. Why he has to get rid of multiple women in his way. That's why he used Padme's death for Anakin to his advantage, because he thought, well, if she's dead, then he's completely under my thumb. And he fears Padme differently than he fears Talzin. Talzin is more just like her ability to do things with the Force and with her magic. Padme is more or less what she can do with her words and her beliefs and her hope. And that's why he is afraid of either one of them. But Palpatine's just fucking misogynist. That's just the easiest way of saying it.
Well, you saying that Palpatine's a misogynist kind of sparked something in my mind a little bit. Light spoilers for Shadow of the Sith, but this kind of ties into like Palpatine's whole like. Again, we really don't see it in Shadow of the Sith, but it's very much implied through Ochi and from what Palpatine says to Ochi that he very much fears Mir. Like Rey's mother is like very much a threat to like his entire plan with Rey and like gaining power. It's because Miramir was able to turn Dathan away. Yes, he was unable to use it. Yes, he was hoping that they would hook up and have a child, but Miramir kept thwarting his plans to get Rey back to Exegol. So it kind of does tie into like Palpatine's inherent misogyny of like how he views the galaxy and strong women. So I very much wanted to tie that in because I was very much thinking of that as you were saying it.
Anything to add on the Miramir part of that, Chris? Since you got the book like 2 months before anybody else did.
Nope, none of that.
That's like Chris's book. Like that's his baby. Like that's what he was been championing for.
That was his Joker.
Yeah, that was his.
As
Joker.
I look at my 2 copies.
Did you get the one with the red?
Yes. Do you want me to get it?
No.
Okay.
No. Don't need to flex on me. It's okay.
All right. I was just saying it would require a little bit of effort.
Don't worry. All right. Well,
moving along, just trying to keep the pace up. Palpatine, Dooku walk out. Dooku walks Palpatine to his ship. Dooku walks back to the droid control room. The Mandalorians break in. They storm in. Like they kill all the droids. Dooku's like, hey, we need to like strategically think them out. He sends all the droids to the 7th level, and then like where they're attacking. The Mandalorians, for like their inherent skill, like outsmart all the droids and take them all out with like pretty much like no like problems at all. They break Maul out of prison, and Maul is like making jokes about like oh, this is so stupid. You guys really think of a plan? And then like you have a cool moment where like the Mandalorian's like, no, this is what our plan was. And they jump on the line. Maul escapes out of prison. We jump to a little bit into the future. We see Dooku talking with Grievous, and Grievous is like, you should have just killed him when you had a chance. Like, this is so stupid. Why are we drawing this out? And Dooku's like, don't question our Dark Lord Sidious. He is a god, blah, blah, blah. And we jump a little bit forward, and Dooku uses the line of treating him like a spoiled child. How does that really tie in with Sidious's relationship with Maul and that kind of obviously spawning to Dooku?
I'm trying to remember the spoiled child line.
So do I.
It's in the opening battle before they go down, and Dooku's like, he's a spoiled child.
Yeah.
He'll whine to his mother, essentially.
Yeah, because because like we said, this whole arc is Palpatine trying to get Talzin into the light, and they use Maul as that pawn. Like Sidious, Palpatine is just like, I don't care. Let's just use him. Who gives a shit? At this point, he's gonna help get to our goal faster. So why not just use him? That's how I kind of view it, because it's kind of the way of how it's kind of like the whole story of Maul's life. He's just been used. He's been used his entire life. And here's just another example of Palpatine using Maul.
Yeah, I when I read that line, it wasn't that he was a spoiled child. It was more like he's weak. He's gonna go run home crying home to mommy. You know, just like how, you know, he had Palpatine was that guiding hand after Palpatine took him from Maul or from Talzin. And now it hasn't been Maul doing this all on his own. It's been Talzin guiding him. So who is Maul without someone behind him?
That's so true. That is really true. Because we also have to remember, we also have that context of him after Naboo. He literally gets thrown into. Is it even really explained how he got to Lothal Minor?
He falls into a trash heap and then gets dropped off there.
Dropped there.
It's a junkyard planet.
That's right. That's
correct.
Right.
That's how I always assumed it was.
But like, he has a lot of trust issues. That's the best way to explain it. He has trust
pretty
issues.
Much. But he's also a mama's boy.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, again, after that line is we see Maul go to Ord Mantell with a hologram with Rook and a hologram of Senator Almec, and Almec's like, "Hey, you rescued me from prison. I thought I'd return the favor by rescuing you from prison. We recovered the Darksaber." Gives this like grandiose speech about victory or death. Grievous shows up, and we have this like amazingly epic battle between the Separatists and the Shadow Collective with only the Mandalorians. And we get this awesome battle. We get to see Maul and Grievous fight for a little bit. We see Maul just like take apart IG like 100s with like no ease. We see basically the entire battle gets drawn to like a standstill between the droids and Mandalorians. They both almost essentially just end up killing each other. And Maul is like, screw this, I'm out. He calls Rook and then jumps away, take off into hyperspace. And again, like we said, he cries some other Talzin. We see Grievous talking to Dooku after the fact, and he's talking about how he exhausted all his resources in the aftermath battle. And while I was watching this, I was thinking of this. How similar do you think the Mandalorians are to the Republic clone troopers? Because for Siege of Mandalore later on, I know this was released before that, we see how well they work together. How do you guys view them differently from the clone troopers, and how similar do you view them?
I mean, in terms of how Maul and Sidious use them, they're just pawns in their game. In terms of fighting style, I mean, I guess until we learn Jango's backstory in canon, we don't know how similar they are. Their fighting styles are different because while they're both warriors, clones are soldiers and are trained to be soldiers, and there's a different mindset and fighting that comes when being in an army versus being in a warrior clan.
But I'm pretty sure we already know his backstory, Jango's?
Not really. Not in canon.
Well, wasn't it
Legends at least?
Wasn't it explained when Boba turned on the hologram in Mando? Isn't it episodes 12? When Boba shows up, he goes, "Here's my father, Jango Fett," and Jango got the armor as a youngling from the same clan that Din was from.
No, it wasn't that. It was just that Jango was a foundling.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that never took the Mandalorian creed.
But like, you also have to remember, he trained with them.
Yes, he did.
Right, but we don't know who that Mandalorian was, what clan he was from, was he like what all that, and then so there's a lot that could be different with that. So that, and being raised by one person versus living your life in that culture.
That's true.
Again, I was not expecting a Jango Fett debate, but that's very interesting because I was really thinking it more of like battle tacticians levels of like, because I was more thinking of like how I view it as like the Mandalorians again are more rough in their exterior and our ability to more fight dirty, and because like they're not, again, like Kris said, like they're not traditional soldiers. They're at this point in time Death Watch terrorists. They're able to like do like unique styles of like with their jetpacks and like how they fight, and that's how I kind of always viewed it. Again, they're fighting droids, so they don't really get to show that off as much as like we see in the other arcs, but that's always how I kind of extinguish the two differently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Again, that's how the comic ends of like with the hologram, and it's like to be continued like later on. And before I do this plot summary, I'm gonna go shut my door. So
oh no, that means Kris, over under that we get Godfrey.
I think we're going to get it.
I think so too. He has the blanket because it's cold.
Yes.
That's what that is. Okay, gotcha.
I guess I'm doing Godfrey. I wasn't planning on it, but
I thought that's why you closed your door.
No, I was already too loud as is, and I was just like already kind of mentally preparing myself. All right, I guess I'll just fire off the Godfrey now. Well,
and go.
Conspiracy of evil. Darth Sidious captured and interrogated his former apprentice Maul and learned of the witch Mother Talzin was behind resurrection. Aware of the Talzin's growing power for formidably of misery, Sidious diverts a plan to Maul to lure her out into the open where he can destroy her. Freed by his allies, Maul rejoined his Mandalorian army on Zanbar, but soon fell under attack by General Grievous, and who rooted out Maul's force in intense ground battle. Now on the run, Maul attempts to regroup Sidious, Grievous, and Count Dooku before his ranks can close in around him.
All right, I will say this.
That was something.
Again, you guys can criticize all you want. I tried a Godfrey. I really tried. I went all in on it.
You did. Game respects game, man. You know.
Again, if Char's watching, I hope you're taking being like.
Oh, are you gonna say you better be taking notes? Because that's ballsy. That is ballsy.
That's a bold strategy, Colin. Let's see if it works out for him.
Still think I do a better Tom Kane. But anyway, let's move into the part 2, which would have, if the episode aired, it would have been called A Tale of Two Apprentices. So again, we cut into Maul on a ship, as predicted by Dooku and Grievous and Sidious. Maul was whining to Mother Talzin, being like, "Oh, I need help, blah blah blah. The Sith are coming after me." And Maul and Mother Talzin are talking, and he's like, "I want to come to Dathomir, send all my troops here so we can hide out for a bit, then go back out and eventually like take over the Republic and like wait for things to die down." And Mother Talzin's like, "I'm not a dumbass. I see through Sidious's schemes. Like, he's clearly just using you to get to me." So again, I know I said last time Ord Mantell. That wasn't Ord Mantell. That was what I said in the summary. I forgot the planet's name already. I know, good job me as a host, but still. Go to Ord Mantell, and I'll send help that way. So going back to what Mother Talzin was saying of the ability to see through Sidious, to see that, like, what the scheme's really going on. What does this speak to her ability as a pawn herself to see within herself in Palpatine's game?
I mean, she knows him. She's known him for 30 years and known what he is. And then she's been able to just be kind of a spectator to his machinations in the galaxy up until the Clone Wars, really. So she's got a good handle on what he likes to do. And that's play chess. This arc is a chess match between Talzin and Palpatine.
Yep, I'd agree. I also find it funny because in the Plagueis novel, I'm pretty sure it's not Mother Talzin, but a Zabrak gives away Darth Maul to Palpatine. So I find the similarity kind of funny in that regard.
But the thing is with Maul and canon is Mother Talzin didn't willingly Maul away.
He just Sidious took him, I mean. But she's a smart woman. Come on now. She's not dumb. Like Kris was saying, she's known him for 30 years. She knows the Sith. She understands the Sith. She understands how Sidious works. But she is going to try to outmaneuver, outsmart him. And it's really just a game of chess between those two, just like Kris was saying. And that's the best way to say it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Like, that's what I really love about this arc is it's a giant game of chess. And like, we've seen this throughout the entirety of Clone Wars. At this point, we made so many comparisons on this channel to the Clone Wars being a game of chess, like to the point where it's tiring. But the thing that makes this arc interesting is the people on the board this time around know they're all pawns. They know what's really going on because they know Sidious so well. It's like, oh, we're being used. Like, they all recognize it. Because, like, I'll give you an example. Like, we like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the Clovis arc, and throughout the entire arc, we were joking about and complaining, being like, how do you not see you're a pawn being used? It's so obvious. Like this is like insanely obvious to the viewer. I get Clovis doesn't know what's going on because, again, he's so like narrowed in on what he's going on. He's so stressed about Dooku like coming back and being like, "Hi, you are our little like errand boy. Welcome back to being our errand boy. We're gonna force you to do this, and if you try to do anything, we'll kill you." So I get like why Clovis is like not really thinking about it from that level. He's just worried about himself and like getting out on top. So I get why that hasn't happened, but I do find it interesting that Clovis was never able to recognize it, and other players, like I get like some of the players not recognizing that they're pawn because, again, they don't really know Palpatine on that level or know Dooku on that level. But it's interesting that like this arc is the one exception where everyone's like, wait, why the fuck we're being used here? Like, can we just break out of the cycle? And like they try to break out, and Sidious is like, haha, fuck you, I see through you. But no, I wanted to rip that in because I was thinking about that as I was asking that question. So again, we go to Ord Mantell. Maul gathers the Pikes and the Syndicates together, and they're talking about how Grievous and Dooku will shortly be here, and like we need to do this. And as we see throughout this entire arc, the Pikes and the Black Sin are like, are we sure this is going to succeed? Like, are you fucking insane? As per usual. And Maul's like, no, this will work perfectly. Just trust in the plan. And we see the Dathomirian brothers arrive, and Maul is like, all right, wait over here. I'll give you the signal when we're ready to go. And then it cuts straight into the battle. Grievous shows up and like gets intel that like, oh, they have Mandalorian warships, and Maul basically sneaks up into the Mandalorian warships, leaves the Dathomir brothers to deal with Dooku later on, as we see later on. And Maul comments to Rook, the Clone Wars have vastly overextended Dooku and Grievous. And I want to ask, what is the similarity between Dooku and the Jedi at this point in the Clone Wars in like the terms of being overextended?
They are, I mean, the Jedi are being stretched thin. They can't cover every battle. They can't cover every system. They can't save everybody. And it's similar to Dooku because he is so hell-bent on getting Maul and getting Mother Talzin that he's not completely seeing what's in front of him. And that's kind of the same way with the Jedi. They are so enact with trying to win this war that they are losing the big picture. And they're so hyper-focused on that one goal. And you can really tell that that's starting to affect them. And I think that's a great similarity between Dooku and the Jedi, especially during the Clone Wars.
I would say that more for Grievous than Dooku, because I think Dooku is still in the know of what Sidious's plan is here. Mm-hmm. Because when later on, when Maul was like, you're getting captured and you working with me, was all a part of Sidious's will. And we see how calm Dooku is, you know, with the whole when he and Grievous get captured, and he's just like, we all have a part to play, General, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But with Dooku, it's like he is only one man and he has to lead the separatists and everything. So he does have to compartmentalize, which is why you had Asajj, you had Grievous, you had Savage ever so briefly. So it's just one of those things where, you know, Dooku being at the top can only do so much. And when it comes to the Jedi and their overextension, it's like, yes, they're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. And even with them being thousands of them, they're still not really able to be the keepers of the peace that they need to on those worlds that need them for what they were doing prior to the war.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I should have mentioned Grievous when I was writing that, but because I was really like thinking about like, because of the line that Maul says of like, oh, like Luke said, I was kind of thinking more like Luke's angle of like Dooku and the Separatists are like stretched so thin and so hell bent on getting Maul that they really can't see what's in front of them. That's how I kind of viewed it when I was writing that. That was kind of the answer I was thinking of when writing the question, because I was like, because they're just so like, again, like they can't, like Dooku can't be everywhere at once. Like he is only restricted to Sidious's will. Like, hey, go here. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. Hey, like do like, it's like very interesting to view it from Dooku's side of the coin, which you really don't get to see that often in Clone Wars. Of like, as much as he's frequently in it, you really don't get to see it from Dooku's angle of like what he's doing throughout those 3 years.
No, yeah, that's fair.
But again, moving on into the battle, Maul, after stating that, takes to the battle to Grievous. He reveals his like again, I guess it's like his trump card that he pulls out in Grievous of like, here's the Mandalorian gunships, and Maul is like basically like, is ignore everything else in the battle and just attack the command center. We're going in. And I find that like plan just to be so interesting because of like how he uses the Mandalorian gunships to lure out Grievous, and Grievous is just like in the confusion of like what the hell's going on. And then Maul is like, okay, let's go attack them, and like let's go attack that one ship right there, because I think that tactician level shows himself, because it shows like what Maul is like himself as the apprentice, because Sidious always viewed him as the one apprentice. So I find that interesting. And I gotta ask, how does this show how much Maul has learned from his defeat on Naboo and with the Trade Federation, his planning was there?
I don't know. I don't see Maul having learned as much post Naboo, because you know he's crazy for those 10 years. Yeah. But it seems like he's always employing Sidious's lessons from when he trained him. because it's not all that different than what he does to Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. It's kind of a divide and conquer thing.
Mhm.
And so that kind of feint when Maul steps back, and then before he, uppercuts Qui-Gon with his lightsaber, it's sort of like taking that moment to realize, okay, this is the move that I need to make, gauging your opponent. And he's already seen how Grievous operates in the previous battle. So I think it's just continuing on of what he's already learned. I mean, he's still the apprentice because he's not a master of it, as we see.
Yeah, but I also think that he has learned, because a lot of the things that, if you watch The Phantom Menace and you see Maul in that movie, he's very much like, when can we reveal ourselves? When can we reveal ourselves? Can we reveal ourselves now? Can I fight them now? Can I do this? Can I do that? Whereas here, he doesn't have that leash of him being held back, and he doesn't necessarily need it anymore, which is interesting.
He doesn't have a leash, but he is lashed to his mother. I'll say that as I could have used a different turn of phrase, but yes, he is latched to his mother.
I would say the phrase I would use for that is he's just under new ownership.
You're right, but I was going in a take what I
either
said
way,
and
either
go
way,
further.
Either way,
just do that.
Either way, not great look. But yeah, I mean, he's grown, definitely grown, tactician wise. He's not as foolhardy to go.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, he isn't the same. I guess that is true. He isn't the same, like trigger happy, hey, boner wielding, except for when it comes to Kenobi. He has a massive hate boner for Kenobi.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows this. This is no secret.
Yeah, this is no secret.
Well,
no secret at all.
Again, I'll reveal like a behind the scenes thing while I was writing discussion, because how I view this moment, because yes, Maul working with the Trade Federations, he would know their weaknesses, but I also kind of weirdly interpretate this as he took poise from Jar Jar and Anakin. What did Jar Jar, the Naboo Gungans were doing? They were stalling the battle until the Naboo starter fighters could take out the command ship. Maul knows actively that the command ship is the main thing that drives all the battle. You take out the command ship, the droids fall. It's just that simple. Like, you take the main person out of the chair, you get in control, you just press a button, they're all dead. So I feel like Maul was like learning from that, going, hey, if I just take this exact like situation from Naboo and destroy all the battle droids, it falls like that. I win. It's just like, because like
Jar Jar is the Sith Lord confirmed.
Because it's more of like, because like you see what the Zabrak warriors and the Mandalorians are doing. They're doing the same thing as the Gungans. They're stalling for time and just trying to get Maul time to get to Grievous so he can just disable it there. Because like, remember when they're like victory or death, they're like, hey, this was an honor fighting for you, because they think they failed. And then the second that the things go down, it's very similar to Phantom Menace, like when Jar Jar and why am I forgetting the general's name in the battle? And they're like, oh, it's over, we lost. And then the second they go down, they start cheering, they start taking them out.
I will say, though, at least the Gungans knew what they were doing, as opposed to Maul's people. Maul's people actually thought they stood a chance. And then they're like, wait a minute, this isn't a counterattack, this is a massacre.
So again, I wanted to kind of mention that behind the scenes portion, because that's how I kind of weirdly headcanon this whole battle tactician from Maul's point of view. Again, I know that's probably not right, but that's how I kind of just view this whole battle. Yeah. But that does wrap up for part 2, because it ends with Maul having. I know it ends with doesn't it end with Mace Windu talking to? Because again, I was watching the audio drama comic version. It ends with. Does it end with Maul capturing Grievous, or does it end with Mace talking to Palpatine?
I'm pretty sure it's them capturing both of them.
Yeah,
both 3. Dooku tries to take out
the Zabrak warriors.
The Visayas. They both fail. So they have Grievous and Maul. I mean Grievous and Dooku.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure parts 3 and 4 end with Maul talking to Palpatine.
Yes.
Windu talking to
Palpatine. Yeah.
No, I was mistaking the other two. I think it ends with Maul talking to Mother Talzin. He's like, we've won, basically. Like, it's perfect. It's playing into our hands right now. And
we did it, Mama.
We did it, Mom. Like,
We
we have
did
them. And then, like, I just imagine on the other side of the galaxy, Palpatine's like, yeah.
No, Palpatine's like, oh, fuck, I got to get these two assholes out of jail. God damn it.
But I am not doing Godfrey again for the next summary. Go after yourself. I don't know how Char does it and doesn't destroy his entire vocal cord, because like I'm already like recovering. You can kind of hear it in my voice a little, like of the post Godfrey.
Yeah.
I never noticed that with Char. Like he doesn't have the post Godfrey voice.
I mean, I think he's talked about it when he was like, I don't want to do it all 3 or 4 times for this arc.
Yeah.
And then the chat.
And then everybody's like, just do it. Give the people what they want.
Again, I'll push for. I'll do Tom Kane for the rest, because that's the easiest one to do. I see why Char always resorts back into it. Again, I do have more perspective, but Char, I'm still going to be your harshest critic. I'm sorry, I got to keep the consistency, even though I understand the behind the scenes lore of it now. Okay, so I'll start part 3. Duel of the Dark Side. Suspecting that Mother Talzin had come out of the hiding to aid her son, Darth Maul, Count Dooku and General Grievous unleashed a full-scale attack against Maul's criminal syndicate on Ord Mantell. Anticipating the attack, Talzin sent out Maul's detachment of might brothers of elite warriors from Dathomir and designed a plan which ended in the capture of both Dooku and Grievous. Now, having won a major battle against the enemies, Maul advises his plans for the final destruction of his former master, Darth Sidious.
Okay, that was good. The entire time I was listening to you do that, it gave me flashbacks of like Call of Duty World at War. And like how they have old, like how they would show like highlights of wartime during the 40s. Like, we are just now taking Okinawa.
That's why it's like that in the Clone Wars, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like radio dramas, essentially.
Yeah,
like,
you just need to slow down slightly.
Yeah.
You slow down slightly. Your voice will keep it there, because you normally speak that fast, but when you're like doing an impression and you don't have as much practice with it, you're
the
going.
slower you go, the better it'll be.
Yeah, until you get more comfortable, and then you'll be able to do it.
Again, I just got thrown into this. I thought Char was going to do this. I was not until like 20 minutes before the episode. So
you blame Charlie.
I blame Charlie for this one.
Charlie, God damn it, Charlie.
Because you were supposed to be here, and then I would have. If I knew you weren't going to be here, I would have had the practice, and it would have been excellent, and I could have dunked on him. But this is not more of a dunk. This is just more of a shoot mass.
Yep, pretty much.
Pretty much. Moving into part 3. Funny enough, because I keep calling all these like comics, like, yes, some of them are named after the issues, but I took the part names after the original episode title. So, because they're not, the issue numbers are not the original episode title. Like, they come up with their own, except for 3. Like the other 3 are like different titles. So this is the one that was actually the issue that was named after the original episodes. But moving into part 3, Proximity War. Again, I mistakenly thought part 2 ended with how 3 began. We see it open with Mace Windu calling Palpatine and being like, hey, what's going on over here? And Palpatine's like, oh, we heard that like they've attacked Ord Mantell, and like Grievous and Dooku are like, or Grievous and Dooku, Maul and Dooku are like fighting each other. This is weird. And Mace is like, this is strange. And he's like, yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what's going on. And Mace ends the call and like,
maybe y'all should investigate that.
Yeah, like Palpatine is like the funniest, because he's like trying to point them in a certain direction. He's like, hey, assholes. Just do this. Yeah. It's just that easy. And Mace is like, you can even see like as the call, because you never really see it as the call ends. You just see like Mace just so disgusted. He's just like, it's like, God, why do I have to still deal with him?
Yeah, this is bullshit.
If I were Obi-Wan, I'd call up the Chancellor and be like, hey, remember when I said we should deal with him? And you were like, nah, it's just a personal mission for you.
What?
But Obi-Wan's not that petty to Palpatine. To Anakin, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's what happens when you raise Anakin Skywalker. You can be petty towards him.
I would want to see that as like a deleted scene of Clone Wars of like Obi-Wan taking his pettiness to Sidious. That would be the funniest like conversation ever, because it wouldn't work.
We can do that at Celebration 2023 when, Luke as Obi-Wan says that to Bibby, who does Sidious.
Oh my God.
Or does a Palpatine.
Anyway, we move on later to the episode. I love how it cuts to like Mace Windu's like, oh, I'm sick of this guy. He goes, talks to Obi-Wan. He's like, he basically just recaps what happens. And they're like, yeah, they left no trace of the battle. And Tiffany's like, yeah, this is really weird. How do we know this? And then Ayla Secura walks out with like a battered like Mandalorian helmet. And she's like, huh, this is strange. And then it literally like cuts to like
this is strange. This is strange.
And then it cuts to the same moment of like Palpatine being like, I love the line of like Dooku or Darth Tyranus are now a disappointment. I'm like, damn, Sidious, you really just like really playing up the act here.
I mean, he can't be any other way because otherwise Maul's going to be like, that's suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Weird.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. That's basically what Palpatine was doing.
I mean, he's probably just like, just a disappointment. That's actually kind of suspicious. I mean, we see what happens when what he says to Vader when Vader fails him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Not great.
Not a fun time.
No.
Yes, Sidious is going through this whole spiel about how Duke is a disappointment. And I really find this interesting that I'm going to note this out as well. I love how Duke is Maul's like, all right, and then I'm going to kill him. And then Palpatine's like, like revenge will bring for you. Like, don't play this game. Like, I get he threw it in there as kind of like, hey, I need this to work out. I need you to get to Mother Talzin. But I do find that interesting that worked on Maul because knowing Maul, I thought he would just be like, well, fuck you, Palpatine. I'm just gonna do what I want.
Oh, Maul's arrogant.
Yep. Maul is he's too much of he wants to prove something, prove it. I gotta do it. And when he doesn't succeed, he gets all pissy.
Because if he just killed Dooku and Grievous right there, what would Sidious have done? He wouldn't have done. He would have went
straight. He would have straight up went to go get Anakin.
Oh, really? You think that he would have tried?
Oh, absolutely. That pushes his timetable up.
I mean, he's pretty much already primed, and I know we'll get into this at the end of the episode, but this is definitely, right before the Siege of Mandalore, so Anakin's pretty much primed and ready to go. So yeah, you don't have Dooku, so he doesn't get captured, but at the same time, do you need Anakin to lop off Dooku's head to get him to the dark side? No.
He's already there.
But we see in almost every iteration Maul's arrogance. I think besides the Phantom Menace, he's baited and then takes the bait every time.
Oh yeah, every single time. Absolutely. Yeah. He's just the baiter. He just gets baited,
It's just like why, Sidious told him in the Phantom Menace, be mindful, Lord Maul.
He's not mindful.
No.
Not at all.
But I definitely wanted to note that because I thought that was a very interesting thing to add to that. So Maul basically is like, Grievous, get out of here. We're gonna I want to talk to Dooku alone. And as Grievous gets up, Grievous has that funny line of like, don't make sure I add your lightsaber to my collection, which I thought was a really funny callback to Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, I would have. After I got out, I would have pimp smacked Grievous. Like, how dare you say something like that in front of company?
Learn your place, wench. You know nothing of the dark side.
And your metal, and I can shoot lightning out of my hands. Come on.
You will be replaced.
Yeah. So again, Grievous is getting up, and he's adding that funny line, and Dooku responds back with, "We all have a part to play." And I just another interesting question I got to add. Do you think Dooku intentionally lost to Maul to get to Mother Talzin? Or you think it was just Maul's pure skills that beat him and then Palpatine had to pull a real Justy?
This is all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. Like everything that the Sith do, they are they're planners. Mm-hmm. If this happens, all right, here we go. We'll do this. And the only one that's not like that is fucking Maul. Maul's the only one that's not like that or is not proficient in planning.
I mean, that and Grievous was like, all right, well, I'm going to get out of this somehow.
Yeah. Don't know how, but I'll do it.
And then, Dooku frees him. He's like, hey, you are good for something, Count. And then does what he always does. Hops in an escape pod and runs away.
Grievous is literally the worst.
If Revenge of the Sith wasn't already made, Grievous would have died in this. He literally serves no purpose really in the rest of the story.
I still think this is Grievous's best arc outside of Crystal Crisis. I think because you get a little bit of the 2003 Grievous of like the way he just starts wrecking Mandalorian like soldiers. I think that was a little bit 2003-esque. And like you get that little badass Grievous in there.
It's Jedi Knights and Jedi Masters versus some renegade Mandalorian warriors that really just get bodied by anyone that they go against. I mean, this is
Ooh. Love the Mandalorian slander.
With the Death Watch, yeah, they kind of suck.
Love it.
I mean, they do.
Put it in my veins.
When do they really win?
They did win when Duchess Satine got overthrown.
Yeah, who did that?
But that was with the help of Maul.
They had been trying to do that for at least several months or a year.
No, they had been trying to overthrow Satine for years.
Yeah, so and she's a pacifist. That they didn't even have a lot of weapons. And you're like, oh, we need the people on our side. And then you had the people on your side. And then what happened to you, Pre Vizsla? You got your head lopped off because you were arrogant. It's just Death Watch sucks.
Agreed. That's why they're no longer around.
And that's why a foundling will sit on the Mandalorian throne. Yeah. Pre Vizsla's probably punching his grave right now.
So I like to mention this every time I get a chance. I really love the headcanon. I don't think they'll ever answer this, but I like to think that Din's legion of Mandalorians dissected during Maul's whole when Maul took over, and I don't think it was just Bo-Katan. I think it was another legion that were like, "Well, fuck this, we're out. Like this is bullshit."
If I remember correctly, I thought they diverted before.
Yeah, they diverted when Satine.
It was during Satine. Okay, yeah. I thought they never explicitly said
because if you remember during Book of Boba Fett episode 5, aka Mando season 3 episode 1.5.
Season 2.9.
Yeah, 2.9, whatever.
Don't say 2.9. That triggers me from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, sorry. We can't say 3. So what do we call it? No, it's
because they released a 2.9 as a part of Kingdom Hearts 3, and we all got worried that we didn't actually get Kingdom Hearts 3, but 2.9 was the prologue to the game.
What the fuck kind of shit is that?
It's kind of like when you got take what's it called? Force Unleashed. And that opening where you're on Kashyyyk as Vader, and that's the prologue for the game. Gotcha. So imagine that, and then it goes the Force Unleashed 0.9, and you're like, what?
What? Wait, what? Huh?
I just said 0.9 because I was thinking Rogue One, and I was thinking how Rogue One was episode 3.9. That's how I was thinking it. Yeah. That's how Book of Boba Fett is. It's season 2.9.
But back to my point. During the Book of Boba Fett, the armor straight up says you don't trust Bo-Katan Kryze. We don't trust Satine. We didn't follow her sister Satine Kryze. That line of succession, we don't trust. We haven't been part of it. And even Bo-Katan says it in Mando season 2.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you're part of that group.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is interesting.
Again, I wasn't really thinking about it from, they would have followed Satine. I was thinking it more of, because I didn't really think about that angle of the pacifism. They would have been F you, we're out. Because that makes sense. Yeah, they would have diverted at that point. I was thinking more, they were loyal to Satine, and they're like, no, fuck this. We're going back to the true Mandalorians. I didn't really thought about it that way, but you're right. That was more of a headcanon than anything, just the battle strategy. Yeah, moving along, Maul gives him his whole spiel about get Grievous out of here. We're gonna talk. We're really cool. And Maul like starts like threatening Dooku, and again from Maul's POV, do you think he threatened Dooku to team up because he was so overconfident that he could overthrow Sidious, or do you believe Maul and him saying Mother Talzin's point of view? He showed something, like he showed him like a past, like a future of something of like, oh, this is why Sidious is weak.
I mean, I think there was some truth to the words of what Maul was saying when he was trying to throw, like get Dooku on his side, because technically, yeah, he is going to look for a replacement. I mean, if Dooku were really to be like, okay, yeah, Dooku's like a supremacist, so he thinks him above other people. But, how long did it really take for Palpatine to lose Maul and then get Dooku? Like that means Palpatine had his eye on Dooku before. So what would make Dooku think that him being like the 72, 73-year-old man that's not going to last all that much longer to be useful, where Sidious is not going to want a younger model? Like, I don't know, but so he's doing that, and Sidious being weak. I don't know if weak, I would say weak would be the right word versus vulnerable, because this is probably where Sidious's plan is the most vulnerable, is right before episode 3 happens. Because if Anakin does go with Mandalore and Maul they get to talking, and he's like, yes, my master wants you. And, like he's orchestrated this whole thing to get you to, fall, and for the Republic to fall. And then, Anakin goes back to Coruscant, and Palpatine's like, hey, I'm a Sith Lord. And I know Anakin's kind of thick-headed, but he'd just be like, wait, 1 + 1.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
yeah. 1 + 1.
Oh.
You. That's how this works.
I love the how it should have ended sketch of he's like, you're the Sith Lord. I've been dropping hints like crazy. I love that, like that joke, because I honestly believe that like if Maul went to Mandalore, I think that Anakin went to Mandalore. Or why I say Maul? I really do love that what if, because I think it's the most dynamic of the what ifs. Like, yes, Luke and Leia switching places is dynamic, but I think that really has ramifications for the saga. Now, as much as I really love that what if, I don't think Anakin would have believed Maul. I think Anakin would have been like, there's no way Palpatine, my surrogate father, is evil.
Well,
what?
he wouldn't have said Palpatine, he would have said Sidious.
Yeah,
so Anakin would have had that in the back of his mind. If Maul even got a chance to speak.
I don't know. I would have given him a
Let's be
chance.
honest, because Ahsoka like talks to him. If Anakin and Ahsoka are down there when Maul first shows up with the rest of the Mandalorian.
Well, Obi-Wan's also there as well.
Yeah, if Obi-Wan goes with him, then he's gonna be like, I was hoping for oh, hi. and then at that point, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin versus like 8 Death Watch Mandalorians and Maul, I don't think they're going to have as much of an issue. So then if they make it to the throne room, like Maul's not going to do that speech. He's probably going to be pissed off just by seeing Obi-Wan and just be ranting at Obi-Wan and then get taken out.
No, I agree. I think Maul, because Maul says to Ahsoka, like, my plan got thwarted because I wanted Obi-Wan and Anakin here. So I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking.
Now, Obi-Wan might have stayed Anakin's hand from killing Maul because they were going there to capture Maul.
I don't know.
But if Obi-Wan gets taken out like he does every time they fight a Sith Lord together, then,
I think
there goes Maul's head.
I don't know how Sidious would do it, but I also think Sidious would get into Anakin's head right before he kills him. I think he'd be like
well, he couldn't, because he didn't talk to Palpatine, because Palpatine's kidnapped. At this point.
But also, like I've said a lot of times during the what if, I also think the Battle of Coruscant would have gone longer, because I think Palpatine would have been like, Anakin's not here. I was expecting him to be here. I'm going to extend this. Like, I think he would have like added shit to like make it go longer, to like wait for Anakin to show up.
What, have Grievous just, have Shakti hanging by those electric cables and just like playing tetherball with her until it's time to come get him?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just because.
No, I think Palpatine would have been in that chair, and then they would have just extended the outer battle in the space, and I think they would have made it like a whole like attack over a course of a couple months.
Well, by the time the Siege of Mandalore ends, the battle over Coruscant has been done.
It's been done for like 4 days.
I thought Revenge of the Sith took place in like within a couple of months.
No, it's like 5 days.
Yeah.
Is it really?
So that battle over Coruscant happens over the course of like
a couple hours.
At least from when Obi-Wan and Anakin get there, yeah, it's a couple hours.
Yeah. But to answer the question, I think it's the latter. Because again, Sidious is so on edge about killing Mother Talzin because he's afraid of her. And she knows this. She knows his weakness. So I don't think it's because Maul is overconfident. It's because he truly thinks that Mother Talzin can destroy Sidious. That's the long and short of my answer.
Yeah, because, if he's playing chess against himself, but against the Republic, it's going to be hard when a third player wants to come and enter the game. So he has to knock her out quickly. Because if he doesn't, then
he's going to be all types of fucked. Like,
he's going to be focusing so much energy on her that the Republic is going to advance and possibly take out the Separatists because Dooku and Grievous are caught up in this. And otherwise, the Separatists don't have any military leadership. And then if he focuses too much on the Republic and lets Mother Talzin do what she's going to do, then you have the whole Shadow Collective thing, and it's becoming a threat in the underworld, and they're going to use that to undermine Sidious's power. So he's got to focus on one. So he's blitzkrieging. He's going to just knock out Talzin and then go right back to the war at hand. Right.
That's pretty much how I look at it.
Against himself.
Right.
Fuck, I outsmarted myself on that one.
No, but like from how I would answer this is I think it comes down to overconfidence. Do I think Maul saw a piece of what Mother Talzin said? I agree with first, like the term I would use probably more than weak I probably should have used the term vulnerable, but like I do think he saw that vulnerability, but I think it's also more Maul being an egotistical maniac as he usually is, and it's being like, "Oh, I'm all powerful. Look at me. Look what I built." Even though it was literally just Mother Talzin telling me what to do. Oh, look at me. I'm the greatest of all time. Sidious should never abandon me.
I'm the captain now.
I am the captain though.
Like I've seen Sidious' scheme. Fuck you. I'm gonna take your apprentice and turn him to my side, and then I'm gonna kill you. That's how I kind of view it. That's how I kind of view that more. I kind of just see Maul being like even if like it could have literally just been a piece of paper saying Sidious is vulnerable. Maul would have like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta turn Dooku to the dark side. Like, because like I love the meme of like, I don't know if you guys ever seen this before, of what if Maul lived to the Mandalorian era and it's just like Grogu and Maul running with Grogu being like, baby apprentice. Like it's like Maul's always looking for another apprentice, like any chance he fucking gets,
because he has to have something to be happy about,
I guess he just took that ploy from Sidious of just like, I'm gonna go find another apprentice and another one.
You have been replaced for the 14th time.
Because like Maul, like as soon as Savage gets replaced, he tries to replace him with Dooku. Then Dooku just falls out because Dooku's loyal to Sidious, and then he tries to replace Dooku with Ahsoka, and then he tries to.
Well, the other thing is that Dooku also does that. He replaces Savage, Asajj with Savage.
He ain't want to replace Asajj. He liked Asajj. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take out Sidious, and then it's gonna be the two of us." And Sidious was like, "Excuse you and your entire family."
Yeah. Hey, bitch. You wanna take out her real quick?
Or I will take you. Like I would hate to think you are trying to replace me.
Say what now?
Bye.
Okay, bye. But yeah.
No, I was making more of the point of like I wasn't saying Dooku, but I was saying Maul likes to always find new people constantly and just add them to his arsenal to like bolster his own power. So it's like as soon as Savage, Dooku, Ahsoka, And Ezra in Rebels, because he tries to do the same thing to Ezra of like, oh, look at me, I can now take on the Empire with a single little kid. Like, I don't know what's his plan there. I know you want a Kenobi.
Maul and the whole Rebels thing was really just trying to find a way to thumb his nose at Sidious as much as he could. Granted, the power of that battle station probably would have been a huge thorn in Sidious' side, which is why he dispatches Vader.
Man, we really went on a tangent there. Again, Maul does his like whole ploy of like, come to me, join me. We can take down Sidious. Same, literally, it's literally the same scene as him and Ahsoka, like almost bar for bar. And Dooku's like, all right, bet. And Obi-Wan and Mace Windu show up. Dooku frees Grievous, like we said earlier. Grievous breaks out, gets out of there,
and runs away.
And this is one of the things I do wish this could have made animation, because I do really like the lightsaber fight we briefly saw, even just in the comic panels of Maul versus Mace Windu and Aayla Secura.
I call shenanigans. Mace Windu would have took that man out.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really much of a battle, because if you really think about it, because what happens is like they battle for like 30 seconds max, and then the Mandalorians come in and they're like, all right, boom, and like they blow up and like cause a diversion, and they
That's
escape.
25 seconds too long, Hereth. Because think about it, of all the people that attack like a raging, angry animal, it's Maul, and Mace Windu would have used Vapod to just turn that back around and be like, all right, job's done. And then, Dooku's over there fighting Obi-Wan, and he's like, all right, I should go home. Nah, Kenobi, you got that.
I wish, they probably should have flipped that. They probably should have had Maul versus Tipley and Aayla Secura, and then Mace Windu and Obi-Wan versus Dooku would probably have been the better matchup. Or how you could have had Maul versus Obi-Wan in that situation, because that would literally make no difference.
Maybe they did that differently because that happened in Legends around this time, in the timeline, where Dooku and Maul are fighting, and then not Dooku and Maul, Mace and Dooku are fighting for a little bit, and then Dooku has like some IG-100s come and like tackle Mace into a pit so he can escape. That's essentially what the Mandalorians do with the rocket. So I mean,
that is because that's true. Because was that a Dark Horse comic, I assume?
Yeah, it was the Obsession where Asajj came back. Again,
Legends Clone Wars is just so odd. Anyway, we get that whole like spiel of like they fight each other to the death, and what ends up happening is we see the Mandalorians come in, they divert, and Maul does his like talking shit to Obi-Wan spiel, like, oh fuck you, we're gonna meet again, bye bitch. And Mace Windu like immediately after the battle contacts Palpatine, and he's like, hey, I have a theory. And Palpatine's like, go on. And he's like, I think Dooku's the Sith Lord. And Palpatine's like, interesting theory you got there.
This makes no sense. Okay, this makes no sense. And we were trying to figure out where this fit in the timeline earlier. So according to the Star Wars Galactic Atlas, it's 19 BBY. But we know for sure this happens after season 6, because what arc did y'all just cover?
Mace and Jar Jar arc.
Which is in season 6, episode 8 and like 9.
Yeah.
And Mother Talzin is alive. She ain't alive after this arc is over.
Yeah.
So it has to happen for there. So that means all the other things have happened, which means they should know that Tyrannus is not the Sith Lord, because Darth Sidious exists.
Yeah.
And Maul was the apprentice before.
And also Obi-Wan knows that because Dooku told him in Attack of the Clones, and then reminds him in The Lost Ones. That's another reason why.
And he made that report, I'm assuming.
I guess that just got lost in the
archives. It's all fuckle. It's all fuckle here. I mean, he's on the
council at that point, so he would have had to tell the other council members.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
And Yoda knows Sidious's name because of what happens in The Lost Ones.
No, because he doesn't get on the council until Brotherhood. That's when he gets anointed to the council, because he takes.
But this is way after Brotherhood.
I know. I was just. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know if he would have gave that information to the council yet.
He should have. Because they were going on a search to figure out what happened with Sifo Dyas, so that would have been a part. Wait, no, they do talk about it, because they're just like trying to figure out what it means because they were reconciling with the fact that, okay, maybe we should have believed what Dooku said a couple years earlier.
But that was in Lost Ones, because we were talking about, we think this arc takes place before Lost Ones.
No, it's definitely, it has to be after.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah, at this point, it has to be after because this also takes place in 19 BBY.
We need the timeline book to come out right now. Kristen Baver, what the hell?
Matthew Martin, Pablo Hidalgo. I'll I'll tweet at you, be like, where does this take place in the timeline? I need answers now.
Yeah.
Because one time I'm hearing, like, I was looking, like, me and Chris were looking this up before the episode started, before we hit record, and one of them were like, it takes place between season 5 and season 6. That doesn't make any sense because of Tipley. We later decided on the Lost Ones one. The other one I think would make sense, even though it'd be weird reading it that way, would be it takes place stacked between the 2 Dark Disciple episodes, or the 8 episodes. So it would have been like 4 episodes Dark Disciple, the 4 episodes Son of Dathomir, and then we would have got like Dark Disciple Part 2 with another 4 episodes.
According to the Star Wars Clone Wars character encyclopedia, the Lost Ones takes place during 19 BBY. That doesn't make any sense because what? Did Anakin just go through that whole, and Obi-Wan go through that whole transformation in like 4 months?
Because
must have.
No, because
they had to have.
We know the Outer Rim sieges last about 6 months, give or take, because of the hair transformation and the what Anakin says in Revenge of the Sith,
and Padme being pregnant.
Yeah, it had to be over the course of 6 months.
It would have had to have been. Yeah.
So that means this is literally taking place during the same timeline that Obsession happens in the Legends comics, because we know, at least in Legends, when Padme got pregnant, because Anakin went on leave for 10 days and
wow.
Wow.
All right, Lavernius Tucker.
He was stroking it.
That's a red versus blue reference for all you those that are uninitiated.
Stroke it to
I am
the
uninitiated.
east. Stroke it to the west.
Return of the Mac
to
started
the
playing.
one that he loved best. Skywalker stroked it.
All right, Luke's on a tangent, but yeah. So this whole line is just, it throws so much into chaos.
It does.
Because it's just like, okay, when does this take place? Did y'all not talk? It doesn't make. Also, let's say this happens before. Like, this happens before everything else that happens 6, right? Well, not everything else, but
because the 5 arc needs to happen no matter
right
what.
Before the Lost Ones. But Dooku left the Jedi Order in 42 BBY. Maul died in 32 BBY. So you mean to tell me Dooku became a Sith Lord as soon as he left, and then trained up Maul, who was not like a teenager. So he would have been trained enough by that much to take Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon through a duel for several minutes and then take out a Jedi Master. That doesn't make sense.
Something just doesn't add up.
Something smells rotten in the state of Denmark, Mace, and you're not sniffing it.
Also, while writing these questions, I knew I was going to point this out because Luke, every single chance he gets an opportunity, he loves to reference Plagueis. He is consistent as consistent.
Plagueis is a fantastic book.
I know. I still need to read it, but
wait, what?
I have not read Plagueis.
Where's my shame bell?
Whoa.
Where's my shame bell?
Whoa.
I haven't touched that much Legends besides the Revenge of the Sith novelization.
Nope. Hold on. Nope. I've got something. Keep talking.
Okay.
Wait.
Let me get to my point.
I got something better, Chris. Don't worry. Love it.
But let me get to my point. I know a lot of stuff that happens in Plagueis. I know it's weird to like judge the story, but I know a lot of the stuff that happens in Plagueis because of just general canon versus Legends debates.
But you don't know.
I do know, okay?
You don't know.
Let me get to my point.
Mask is the only reason why Palpatine is successful, because he's a financial dude,
okay,
bro.
Let me get to my point.
Case in point.
Eggman, let me get to my point. This is the really first short case that we see in canon for why Plagueis cannot work. Because let's say Plagueis was canon, and let's say that they just took it, the exact story, threw it in canon. Ace's point would make even less sense, because Plagueis runs concurrently, because I know this because I've heard people talk about this, and I've seen a canon Legend debate, and I've watched it. I've literally seen words on the Legends timeline concurrently with Phantom Menace. So let's say if this was in Legends, Dooku would have turned during Phantom Menace. How the fuck would that make any sense, Mace?
Dooku, yeah, well, it wouldn't make sense from Mace's perspective, but we have a different perspective than Mace. So, like, what Mace knows about Dooku when he left the Jedi Order and everything, like, that timeline wouldn't make sense. With Plagueis, you know, it's called, okay, he kills his master. Maul dies around the same time. And he's like, shoot. So then he has to go find Dooku, which is essentially what he has to do. We just don't know when Dooku turns. But from Mace's perspective, it makes no sense for Dooku to just straight up leave the Jedi Order and be a Sith Lord. And them not knowing about it, but like, it's one thing to turn to the dark side. It's another to become a Sith when you've been a Jedi for 60 years.
And also, again, I know I went with the whole Legends canon debate because, again, I want to bring that up. But I also was thinking about this as you were saying that. So it doesn't make sense with Attack of the Clones either. Because in Attack of the Clones, when Padme's like, hey, do we think Dooku was the one that organized this entire attack? Mace is like, no, it's not in his character to do something like this. Then why do you think 3 years later he's a Sith Lord? Mace, can I get some answers, please?
Well, given all the events of the Clone Wars and his fight with Yoda, I think it would be like, okay, maybe he has fallen to the dark side and maybe he is a Sith.
Okay. So again, this episode ends with like we've been literally talking about to death this entire time. Mace being like, I think Sidious is the Sith Lord. And Sidious being like, yeah, totally. Yeah, you just got it right. Good job, Mace. And like he like claps him up like, good job. You figured it. Really figured that one out. I don't know how you did it. And then, like, I just imagine the call ends and Sidious is just like, this guy's just the biggest idiot. I've been giving him all the clues. Like, this guy just doesn't get it. Then, again, end of episode, I'll run right straight into the recap for part 4. Evil alliances. Darth Maul operates from the shadows, carrying out Mother Talzin's planned revenge against Darth Sidious. After capturing General Grievous and Count Dooku, Maul threatens render to Sidious's droid army lenderous and ineffective. At this point, our struggle against the Republic's attention, the Jedi Order, led by Obi-Wan Kenobi, boldly attempts to capture all their enemies at once and end the Clone Wars. As the Jedi attack, Dooku frees Grievous and joins Maul's forces once and for all. Together, they escape capture and chart their course for Dathomir, where Talzin awaits them.
Long and short, basically, Mother Talzin gets gat.
And Grievous was useful.
Yeah, for once.
He wasn't, taking out Padawans or something. Oh, he hasn't actually even successfully taken out a Padawan.
No, yeah.
Which, good on my girl Ahsoka, but
no doubt,
Grievous, you suck.
I just find that ironic. All the cool stuff with Grievous just never happened.
All the cool stuff with Grievous happens in Legends.
Yep.
And then
until we get a canon book called Grievous, that makes him an absolute badass, which I'm hoping for.
And then George Lucas looked at that shit and went, that's fucking dumb. I'm going to make Grievous a 1930s, just like, I'm an evil villain.
Twirling the mustache.
Look at me. I'm going to escape again.
You can't catch me.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense how he goes from 2008 Clone Wars to 2005 Revenge of the Sith Grievous.
Yeah.
I'm just like, he was at least halfway competent in Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, I know a lot of people complain about Grievous not making sense from 2003 Clone Wars to Revenge of the Sith, but I will put my stake in the ground and be like, I'll say a controversial opinion. 2008 Clone Wars to Revenge of the Sith, not just for the reasons you mentioned, doesn't make any sense. It's because I know they don't explicitly say it like Anakin, but it's heavily implied that Grievous and Obi-Wan never met.
Yeah.
Because why, when Obi-Wan goes, hello there, he goes, I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku. It's like Obi-Wan should have been like, Count Grievous, I fought you like hundreds of times. Why are you telling me this?
I mean, it's the same thing with Twice the Pride. My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count. It's like, you mean 6 months ago?
Well, technically, their last battle wasn't even in the Lost Ones. It's in Dark Disciple.
But we don't know when Dark Disciple takes place.
Because remember, Anakin and Dooku fight in Dark Disciple for like 30 seconds. And then
That's why I'm sticking with the 6 months thing. Because even still, like 3 years ago, that makes more sense than like, hey, we fought like 7 times in the past 18 months.
And like, what, your power has grown that much over the Outer Rim sieges, Anakin? Are you really that cocky?
Because I mean, he was close in the Obi-Wan bounty hunter arc.
He was also close in the Lost Ones, because remember, Anakin like jumps on Dooku's ship and then like is like, all right, let's go, and then like they start clashing at each other, and then Dooku's like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here, and then like he pushes him off and just like runs away.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those weird retroactive things, but
I get why they did, but they should have really kept Dooku and Anakin to season 4, because that honestly would have made way more sense. It just ending it on the bounty hunter Obi-Wan arc and they never see each other again in the Clone Wars. That would have made some sense.
Honestly, Dooku shouldn't have fought anybody but other Jedi in that arc, and you should have brought out some of the more dark Jedi that you had in Legends, because that gives them other people to fight that doesn't make the timeline kind of like murky. So you have Grievous, you could have Grievous fight other Jedi. But like you have Savage in this, you have Maul showing up, that's fine. But bringing evil Sora Bulk or Score, having Asajj play a bigger role in the Separatists for longer, Dirge, other bounty hunters, just because when you have, Grievous fighting in a Revenge of the Sith and just being like, I was training your Jedi arts by Count Dooku. Yeah.
No shit.
I know. Like, I know I've taken plenty of head trauma during this war, but I remember fighting you like a year ago.
And I remember you showing me your 4 lightsabers every single time, which that's still another weird thing. I was like, why do you show it every single time? I kind of like the O3 approach of like, he only uses 2 until the last episode, and you're like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he just shows it up every time. But anyway, I'm going to get into part 4. So, as we said, the TLDR, Dooku and Maul and finally arrive on Dathomir, and Maul gets a hologram from the Black Suns and the Pikes, and they're like, fuck you, we're out. This is bullshit. Like, you like are abandoning us. And Maul's like turns off the hologram, and Dooku's like right behind him watching this entire ordeal, and Dooku's like remarks with just like the line of gaining control is easier than maintaining it. So while I was watching this, I was like, oh, this is a really good question. What does this really convey as like Dooku's biggest strength as a leader, like a political leader of the Separatists?
He learned from Sidious.
Yeah.
Manipulating. It's just simple as that. He's a great manipulator. He knows how to play the game. He learned from the best.
And Maul only manipulates through fear.
Yes.
And more like, be afraid of me and what I can do to you, versus be afraid of what these other people will do to you, and I will be your savior, which is how Palpatine played it and how Dooku played it, and which is why they were able to maintain power for so long.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. I mean, he just knows how to manipulate, basically.
Again, we'll get into it when we do our Dark Disciple discussion breakdown, but I feel like the biggest strength we see politically with Dooku is in Dark Disciple, because I think Dooku does a better job than Maul of keeping up appearances and being like, oh, I'm with you 100%. Like, I'll help you out here and here. Like, he knows how to play the game. And while Maul can recover, like, because he does recover and gets all of them back, I feel like Dooku does a better job of like keeping that, like, his appearances up throughout everything.
I mean, yeah, I think the other thing is when you do rule through fear, as Maul does, you can always wrangle the people back in until they don't fear you anymore. Like when you're no longer a threat to them. So even when he does escape, like, they survived and Black Sun survived. And so then, and he survived. So then he's back. It's like, okay, nothing's changed. we're still here, because they don't know about Mother Talzin and that whole portion of it. So to them, Maul was able to survive the CIS onslaught. So that's even more of like, oh, okay, I guess we got to stay in line before he takes us out like he took everybody else out before.
Yeah. Luke, what are your thoughts on that as well, from what Kris is saying about how Maul was able to pull everyone back at the last second, even though it seems like that Maul lost everyone during the course of Son of Dathomir.
He just knows how to pull. Like, he's just like, I can, he, like, just like Kris was saying, he can rule with fear. He knows what the Pikes, he knows what the Black Sun is going to be doing. Like, you can't, he single-handed, he goes, I put you where you're at now. Like, he literally killed the leader of the Black Suns and put that guy in charge. Like, he can just replace you as easily as he did the other guy. So it's pretty easy for him to just be like, I'm going to do this now. You're going to follow me. And they're just going to blindly follow him because they know they're not better off without him.
Right. And so, again, going back to the rest of the episode, or the rest of the, I say episode, issue. I'm so used to just like the usual Clone Wars of like episode. Now, like, issue is like, it's jargled my brain.
Yeah.
Issue. The rest of the issue. So, again, they get down. Maul does some weird satanic shit with Dooku and gets Mother Talzin in him. And because Mother Talzin's like, oh, Dooku's just going to go back to his little master, and keeps up like his game there. And like, because he knows what's going to happen. So they're just like, we're going to have Mother Talzin be in control. And Maul and Talzin at this point wait for Grievous and Sidious to show up. And again, they literally come in literally halfway through and interrupt it. They have a really cool duel. Again, another duel I wish we would have seen in animation, because I think
Grievous busts in like he's the Kool-Aid man, which, okay, I did have, like, I know that Palpatine is really good at masking his presence, right? But 2 issues ago, Maul was able to sense droids. You mean to tell me he can't sense Grievous? Like, he sensed them while they were in space.
But here's my other question. You can't tell me that Maul can't recognize when Sidious is also nearby? Because in season 5, when Sidious gets even like the proximity of Mandalore, Maul's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to mask his presence there.
No, like, he was masking it because then, because even Mother Talzin would have been able to sense.
He was trying to get the upper hand on them, like here, and which is why he cloaks the ship. But I'm just like, I mean, maybe Palpatine can mask Grievous's presence. I don't know. We haven't really seen something like that actually happen, but it's just like, you sense droids. You mean to tell me you couldn't sense Grievous or anything else? Like, since when can people sense droids in the Force? I don't know. But I was just like, you got what was coming to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get the, again, like I said, the lightsaber fight that should have been an animation, and we get Mother Talzin versus Sidious, and then we get Maul versus Grievous. And Maul, I love like the line that Maul like pushes him out the door, and he's like that was meant to happen. Grievous,
mechanical trash.
Like, I love how he's like, you need to learn your place here. I love like the little like Maul throughout this entire arc. I just love how he's just shit talking like Sidious, like both Dooku and Grievous, because he's been doing this since the beginning of the Clone Wars. I just love how he's like they replaced me with these two. Like, fuck those two. Like I'm all better, I'm all powerful, even though he's not. And then you get like the awesome like line from Palpatine being like, okay, you have Dooku's body, but you have none of the skills. He's like, get out of there. And I love how he just like throws Talzin out.
No, what I didn't understand was after Maul kicks Grievous out that hole he made, why didn't Maul take out Dooku while he was on the ground? Like, it'd be one thing if he tried and Dooku was just like, out of here, boy, and just like send him flying with Force lightning. But he's just like standing there watching Palpatine and his mom go back and forth with the Force lightning versus Night Sister lightning. I don't know what to call it. And then Dooku just goes up, stands up, and helps Palpatine. Maul's just like, let me get behind my mom. I'll help you. Like, no, take out Dooku. He's just standing there.
But I do, even though that is a good nitpick, I really do love the visual of Palpatine and Mother Talzin fighting each other, and then their apprentices are helping them. I really do like that visual of like you can see of like the levels of like who's manipulating who, and like it's all clashing at this one moment, and then Grievous just bunches in, and then like, here's my other critique: how the hell did Maul not notice Grievous like sneaking in and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna come up and kill her"? Like,
well, he was being dragged away at that point.
Oh yeah, Maul was
because Rook calls and they come and pick him up, and
yeah,
he's
like,
no,
him to leave.
No,
mama.
Ooh. Copyright strike.
and yeah, so Talzin and her son, and Palpatine and the person he sunned. So I'm just like, yeah, Palpatine. It also would have been nice for Palpatine to do it himself.
Yeah, but also like
he is like, you needed Dooku to do it.
But I also like how Grievous got that one like "fuck you" moment. Like that was like, I think this is Grievous.
Well, it's because he missed it in the Dathomir arc.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to gank her in that, and he didn't. So giving him the kill is kind of
worth
redemption,
it
for sure.
And then I love like the whole conversation that breaks out between Palpatine, Dooku, and Grievous, like them just standing over Talzin's body, and Palpatine be like, "Fuck you, you're dead." Like, I just love like how Palpatine's just like so glowful.
In the Battlefront mod, they would have been teabagging her like this was Halo.
Probably, but.
And we get this last awesome conversation of Palpatine being like of him like basically going back to like what we've been saying for all this entire show of the puzzle and like the chess game match. And Palpatine was like, this one was hard to maneuver. Do you think Maul was ever in control of this entire thing, or do you think Palpatine just let him do all this and just kind of maneuver him into these roles?
Palpatine let him do it.
Yeah.
Simple. It's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan.
What plan? The plan.
It's just the shortest answer. It's just like literally
the only plan.
Palpatine is letting him do this, and that's the short end of it, to be honest.
But that wraps up Son of Dathomir, and guess what? As you notice this entire episode, Char isn't here, so it's my turn. My turn. Good. Good. 3 interesting facts you didn't know about a certain Clone Wars arc up until now. I'm not going to do it because I don't know when this is going to be released. I'm assuming during Bad Batch. So, put the number on screen.
Yeah.
Part 69. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah,
part
call
69.
It 69. I won't release it until we get to like episode 69, and then I'll release it. It won't really make sense because it'll be like halfway through season 1. Halfway through season 1 of Rebels.
Fact 1. A familiar character. The Mandalorian character Rook first debuted in this arc and later went up the show on the Siege of Mandalore because, show got finished and wasn't supposed to be. And she would eventually become the inspiration for Sabine Wren later on because they took the design of that character and made a new character out of it. Fact 2. Another new design. If this arc would have aired originally as planned, Grievous would have debuted in his new design. Although this was never seen as intended, again, once more, we see this design showing up in the Siege of Mandalore during the opening recaps. Fact 3. Inspiration for the future. This comic would become the inspiration for Lucasfilm Story Group to bring back Darth Maul and Solo. If it wasn't for Crimson Dawn and their implements here, and seen earlier in Clone Wars, but mainly in here, we wouldn't have got Maul and Solo. And there's your 3 interesting facts you didn't know about this Clone Wars arc up until now. Now you can put the graphic on screen.
Son of Dathomir.
Yeah.
And time to rank the episode. Kris, go first.
I'm waffling between a Jedi Knight and a Jedi Master. I think I'm going to go with Jedi Knight, though.
Same.
I'm going to be the one that breaks the track. I'm going to go Jedi Master. I think this arc, if it would have released, I think it would have been one of the best arcs in Clone Wars.
If it was animation, it would probably be a Jedi Master for me.
If I need the answer on when this takes place in the timeline.
Agreed.
That's what's kind of holding me back right now.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Well, Clone Wars chronologically never makes sense anyway, because if you look at the chronological order of everything...
Yeah, but at least we have chronological order. Would they have it out there?
But also, there aren't such things like Mace's line that don't make sense given so much of what happens in the previous episodes. Like, if this was going to be released in season 7, think about all the things we would have gotten in season 6, including Dark Disciple, that this would have made even less sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. That is going to be it for the lost arc of Son of Dathomir. Kris, where can the good people find you on social media?
You can find me at StarWarsLawyer, all one word, on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and my podcast, Too Black, Too Nerdy, wherever pods are cast, as Camilla would say.
Awesome. Hereth?
You can find me, Hereth Productions, on TikTok, Hereth Productions on the same name on Instagram, Hereth_edits on Twitter, and I guess since Char's not here, again, I'll say his phrase. You can find us every Thursday here to watch our Clone Wars recap.
And with that, you can find us at the Pod Once Podcast on TikTok, Pod Once Podcast on Twitter, and the Pod Once Pod on Instagram. Thank you for tuning in. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Like, comment, subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Our goal is to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year or by the time we go to Celebration. Either one, whichever comes first. But that is going to be it for Light for Life.
We are all the Char J.
Jays.
And may the force be with you.
Always.
Oh my God.